The low FODMAP diet is
Can I do that, please?
I don't mind it so much. It doesn't make me pull that face as much, although it can be incredibly complicated. Is that low
Complicated
FODMAP
and again can be full of chemicals.
Yeah, absolutely, because they say aspartame is low FODMAP, so you can have plenty of that. That's great. So the low FODMAP is if you have a client who is diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome, the low FODMAP diet can be prescribed by dietitians. And it is a diet that is low in fermentable carbohydrates that upset the small intestine if the small intestine environment is not great. The fermentable carbs are the non-digestible short chain carbs, which mean that they force water into the digestive tract and they cause symptoms like IBS, bloating, constipation, diarrhea. Because they're non-digestible, the gut bacteria ferment them, causing the gas and short chain fatty acid production. So the idea behind the low FODMAP diet, you will see in our courses that we've got a list of the foods that sit within. I think it might be coming up next, but it can get quite complicated of which foods sit in which category. And if you go to a dietitian, they will look at restricting and putting someone on a low FODMAP and then slowly looking at reintroducing, which is also how the autoimmune paleo diet works, is that you cut everything out, and then when the body is no longer in stress or in bloating in this case, and the gut bacteria is a little bit more normalized, then you can start to reintroduce and then personalize the diet depending on what you're reacting to. So this is what you can eat. So you can eat strawberries, but you can't eat watermelons. You can eat chicken, but you can't eat sausage. You can eat butter, but you can't eat avocado. So it does get a little bit confusing, and you will have clients who are on low FODMAP diets. Now, what is interesting is if they get benefit from being on the low FODMAP diet, that suggests that their gut bacteria is imbalanced, which is going to lead you down the SIBO route when you were working with them.
Yeah, and so the FODMAP can be very, very confusing. And yeah, I'll go. You're going to say it.
Yeah, there is a risk of someone who's on a long-term low FODMAP diet. There's a risk of some of the foods that are nutritious, that they're being cut out. It doesn't take into account some of the common food intolerances, like Claire said, that there's a few chemicals that are fine in the diet, so it doesn't look at processed food as much. It can be quite restrictive, and the digestion can benefit from those prebiotic fibers that are being cut out. So a long-term low FODMAP diet is something that we would question. And if you've got someone who is on a long-term low FODMAP diet, recommend that they go back and speak to their dietitian.
Yeah, and it's also the science behind it. Actually, the results aren't that great. It's only about 20% of people that actually find that they have benefit from it. So it's a bit too generic, I think.
And the way that we work is we're always asking why. And so a low FODMAP diet doesn't get to the cause of the problem. Why is that person struggling to digest those carbohydrates? Is there a gut bacterial issue going on? Is there a lot of stress in the system in their lifestyle, which means that their parasympathetic nervous system with their digestive function is not coming online because they're constantly stressed, so they're not digesting. And that is the joy of the work that we do, is we ask the question, why is this happening? So low FODMAP can be a bit of a sticking plaster. It can indicate something when you're working with someone that you want to be going down potentially the SIBO route, but it's for a long-term solution, it's quite limiting.
And they might just need to avoid wheat, and wheat's in it. So
yeah.